Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of the podcast AfterWords, where we talk to the ministers in the Pan African Orthodox Christian Church, the Shrines of the Black Madonna, about the most recent sermon. Today's sermon is Do Your Part from the scripture 1 Kings 19:11. Quote, Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord. We have this morning, and we're so honored to have Jeramogi Kimathi with us. Welcome, Jeramogi.
Thank you. Glad to be here as always.
Right on. I am so excited to talk to you about the sermon. Thank you so much for this morning's sermon. I feel enthused and energized. Would you expand on a couple of points you mentioned in the sermon? First being, not necessarily in order, but first being 3 points. First being, you mentioned, you referenced the year 1877, the end of the radical reconstruction in the US after the Civil War. Would you expand on, you suggested that the importance of this particular election mirrors the importance of that particular election. But I'm not sure many of our viewers, listeners, and followers understand what the reference to 1877 actually means. What was at stake then? You suggested that the stakes are very, very similar. Would you expand on that, please?
Well, there is a common reference to the period after the civil rights struggle until today to be the second Reconstruction period, the period where Black people made significant advancement, where laws were changed, Voting Rights Act, Fair Housing Act, Civil Rights Act, the Affirmative Action.
Yes.
All these policies were enacted that pretty much transformed Black people into full citizens. Um, and so they call this period after the late 60s the second Reconstruction. Well, the first Reconstruction was 8 years after the Civil War, where Black people were given the right to vote. And because many counties in the South were majority Black, they elected Congress people, they elected judges, council people, sheriffs, and took control of a large part of the government in southern states.
African
Um,
people did.
African people, right? And so the the when in 1877, when the two candidates running for president, um, they were in a virtual tie, and neither one of them could get the electoral college votes they needed to become the president. One of the uh, uh, one of the candidates, Hayes, um, he made the offer to the Southern Democrats that if you will support me in my effort to become president, I will withdraw the troops from the South, and I'll let you deal with Black people any way you want to. And so they threw their weight to him. He withdrew the troops, and so the Reconstruction period at that point was effectively over. And then in the aftermath, they passed laws that restricted Black people's ability to vote, and to do a lot of other things. Basically, brought in Black codes and bought Black slavery, brought back slavery and everything but name. And they did that because they got control of the government. And when they got control of the government, they could reverse amendments, they could change laws, they could take people out of office who have been elected fairly to their office. They could reverse everything that we thought was uh, secure and sanctified because of the fact we were citizens. They could just ignore that and create laws to undo it. So that's the kind of situation we face today,
Mm.
where we've been citizens or in the mindset of being citizens so
Mm.
long that we think that that can't be undone. And we're facing a diminishing white population that recognizes it no longer has the numbers to win a democratic election. So it has to reconstruct the government to its favor. And basically, they're in the process of creating a white minority apartheid kind of government system in which many of the people who presently vote will not be able to vote.
Yes, as it happened in 1877.
Right.
I hear you. Now, many young people are at the heart of the struggle and resistance um, to voting, committing their vote to the Democratic Party in this round. Many, the Muslim community particularly, are advocating for not voting for the Democratic ticket unless they do something around ending the genocide in Gaza. Now, African people, our leadership in the African community right now seems to be united. Once again, every 4 years, they're united on vote, 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 not necessarily saying the name of the candidate or the party. But can you talk about the unity, this cyclical unity of Black leadership to rally itself and rally the population, the Black population, around voting for the particular candidate?
Well,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things wrong,
Mhm.
a lot of things that can be straightened out and need to be straightened out. There's a lot of injustice. There's even a lot of racism, even on the Democratic side. But in this particular case, it's a binary choice because one one candidate, one party has policies that we have to argue about. We have to come to an agreement about. But the other party, their platform is designed to kill you. So it's not really. At least we got some discussion over here. Over here on this other side, they're talking about taking us back 100 years, and so it's really just a binary choice. It's not really. There's no point of contention that should become so big that it affects our voice because the Republican Party has a gun to our head, and there's no way we can live with that.
Yes.
I think everything else, there are many inconsistencies and many things that need to be discussed. And we need to get many concessions, but you can't get them in advance of dealing with this gun to your head.
I hear
Uh,
you.
and that's basically the binary choice that we have, and we have to be sophisticated enough to understand that it is a binary choice. We can choose life or choose death.
Yes. The the young people, once again, if you are speaking and you are directly to young people as they consider voting, well, they're considering voting, not voting, voting for a third party candidate. Why, besides the idea of a gun to our head, they hear this idea of voting for lesser evil all the time, but they did not, the young people I'm talking to, and I mean the 20-year-olds, the 22-year-olds, this might be one of their first elections. They have not been inculcated in the idea of voting for lesser evil. As a church and with a theology of liberation, how do we speak to their concern about voting for one of the two evils?
Well, like I said before, it's really just a binary choice. All everything else is jive. I mean, there is no. I'm I, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not committed to partisan politics.
Yes.
What I am committed to is the interests and welfare of Black people, and I know enough about history to know that our ability to function, to live, to advance under one kind of government is going to be different than it would be under another kind of government. And so it's not really saying that the Democratic Party is a panacea and the door to freedom. It just gives us a more comfortable set of boundaries within which to operate. Uh, we can um, we can struggle for self-determination without going to jail. We can have this broadcast without the FCC shutting us down and the Justice Department coming to arrest me and you for having this conversation. That's a different kind of government where basically, if you are critical, you are an enemy of the state, and they will use the full power of the state and all of the levers of government to move against you. that's a different kind of government. And young people can't even conceive of
Right.
that possibility.
They
They
cannot.
can't conceive of that possibility because they don't know enough about history and about how things have gone uh, to be able to uh, understand that it not only it not only can happen, it has happened many times in the past.
And that's what's at stake now.
Right.
I hear you. I hear you. One more time, and last time we're wrapping up here in this short podcast. Would you expand on the idea of um, what's at stake is democracy? You just talked about the FCC and shutting down the broadcast and speaking. Do we know that maybe Europeans, even Europeans in Israel, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Canada, and in the US live in a democracy? Europeans do. But do African people in this country live in a democracy? Is it a democracy? And is it a democracy how?
Well, it is a democracy, but it has a lot of protections to make sure that things don't change too drastically.
Right.
Um, it's not the kind of democracy where an election is going to lead to a revolution.
Uh,
They pretty much keeping the same policies and institutions in place. We may be able to tweak things a little bit to our favor, so that we get some of the things that we need to make life more comfortable and more safe. But that's just creating the environment within which we carry out our struggle. And our struggle would be easier to be carried out in an environment where we have relative freedom to move and to think and to talk and to do the things that we have to do in order to pursue our agenda, as opposed to one in which we did not have that opportunity. Um, in the sermon, I was really speaking to what I felt was a lot of our members getting older and feeling that we were not going to accomplish everything that we had started out to and that this is feeling that uh, we're not going to see the end point, the liberation of Black people. And what I was trying to say is that we only get to do our part.
ah,
We don't get to do everything. Nobody in the Bible got to do everything. In the prophet in the Bible, forgetting my prophets.
in this chapter, it's Isaiah.
Yeah, no, it's not Isaiah. It's uh,
Oh,
my memory. It's Elijah.
Elijah. Sorry, and not Elisha, Eliza.
Elijah was called during difficult circumstances to deal with a very hostile government.
Yes.
And like he did Herculean work, but he felt that for all of his work, he had not accomplished the goal of liberating Israel to doing everything that he thought that he was supposed to do. So even though he had done great work, he felt like a failure. And I think that many people struggling for liberation feel the same way. Even though we've done great work, we feel like a failure because the reality has not come to pass where we have the liberation that we've dreamed of. And the lesson of the message is just do your part. This is a sacred trust. You do your part and you hand it off. And I was basically trying to tell our members that we've done our part.
Hmm.
We've done our part. We have nothing to hang our head about or to think that we didn't accomplish everything we'd hoped for. It doesn't all depend on us.
Hmm.
It just requires us to do our part. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to be the vehicle that brings about all the eventual changes. But our institution, our program, and our legacy has moved us further down the road, and we've made a significant contribution. So we've done our part. Elijah he done his part. He didn't do everything, but now he's burnt out. He's tired. He's old, and he's like, I'm willing to give up because I don't really, I like the task has burnt me out. And I think that many Black people end up in that position where they feel that the task has burnt them out, not looking at the tradition of struggle as a long narrative arc that includes generations, and that our eventual success will come because we share a sacred trust, a holy agreement between the generations. To you do your part in your time, and I'll do my part in my time. And eventually that will get us to where we want to go. So that was a lesson that Elijah had to learn. And I think that's a lesson that we have to learn. No election is going to lead to everything we want.
Hmm.
No candidate is going to give us everything we want. All we just have to stay in the game and move incrementally, generation to generation, toward our ultimate goal.
Ashe, that feels like a wonderful place to stop. Thank you so much for your time. I want to remind the viewers that AfterWords happens every Sunday, but you can see us anytime on YouTube. It is a part of the Shrine Online, the Shrine Without Walls, Bilakuta. Please join us. Please like and subscribe to the sermon, to AfterWords, and to the Shrine Online. Thank you very much, Jaramogi.
You're
Jaramogi.
very welcome, brother. Glad to be with you.
Thank you so much. Be well.
You too. Take care.